My name is Kayla Passaretti, and I'm going to be discussing my fourth center, which is for English language learners. They are based off of James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. So they're going to go into their center and they are going to get their direction sheet. And it says to begin to listen to the story. So for English language learners, they are going to listen to the story in Spanish. They have visual aids to remind them what it is, just in case they might forget what the directions are. Since they're English language learners, it may be more difficult for them to understand English, but the directions are very basic with word usage. Since they are in 5th grade, they should be able to distinguish some of the words by now and understand what we're looking at, since they are not in kindergarten or 1st grade, whereas they would be just learning how to read. So after they do that, they're going to go to the second directions, which says, after you're done listening, you are going to complete today's activity in the folder. Third one says, first write your name, then read the directions for today's worksheet carefully. And the fourth one says, once you've read the directions and written your name, complete today's worksheet. And then there's just visual aids to keep reminding them exactly what they should be moving on to next. So then they will get to their folder at the center, which will say center 4 because that's the center we're at, just to make sure that they are at the correct one. And they will take out their worksheet from the folder. Their first activity is going to be a prediction sheet. So it's throughout the chapters, they're going to make a prediction of what happens next. For English language learners, I thought this was a really great way to get them thinking about the story more in depth than just being able to hear it in their own language, so that they are able to really express how they feel and being able to comprehend what's being read to them and understanding what's happening in the story. The second activity is pick a chapter and draw an illustration with it. So for this, I really enjoyed having this for the English language learners because since English is kind of harder for them, they can practice writing it, but they can really show what they know. So they can pick any chapter that they'd like and just write about it and draw. The third worksheet is a think, pair, share activity. They will answer the question in the peach, which says what would be your idea to help the centipede and why. So they are going to write their answer in their bubble of what would they do, and then they're going to pair up with another student and write what the student's answer was when they shared their information together. I really enjoyed creating this because they get to work together with another student, so you're also having students work collaboratively. For the last one, this is where the English language learners would practice really writing their English. It says that you're going to write your favorite part of the book and why once they finish reading the whole thing. And they're going to explain why, and then they're going to cite examples from the text. So whether it's quotes or examples, it does not matter. They should say where they got it from. For English language learners, this is kind of really important so that they learn how to do that. Since English is their second language, it might be harder, but they should be able to understand what it's asking them to do by going back and referencing and inferencing what the chapter or the book, whichever part of the book they're at, is saying. Pat Wolf mentions how visuals are very helpful. I think it's not only helpful for lower level readers, I believe that it's truly helpful for English language learners as well, since English is a very complex language. And Shelley Gray mentions how organization is very important, and for English language learners, that's, I feel like, a very big key because they're already just now getting to try and catch up with English. So if everything was all over and unorganized, they would feel even more behind and they wouldn't be able to understand what you're asking them to do. The standard that I chose for this activity is LAFS.K12.SL.1.2, 1.1. It says prepare for and participate effectively in a range of conversations and collaborations with diverse partners, building on each other's ideas and expressing their own ideas and persuasively, or it may vary, so that they should be able to work off of what they're reading, which is why I did the predictions, so that they were able to think about what they read, but then they got to be creative with how they answered it. I have my rubric, and I just wanted to let you know what it was so that you would know how I would be scoring this. So it's broken down into 4 sections, and it's based off of on-topic responses to questions and or activities, demonstrated knowledge, grammar mechanics, spelling and usage, and writing efforts and details. So in the description box for on-topic responses to questions and or activities, it says the responses are clear and focused. Student connects to right responses. That is worth 5 points. Demonstrated knowledge. The description says the writing displays knowledge of the story between character relationships, summaries, predictions, and reflections. That's also worth 5 points. Grammar mechanics, spelling and usage. The description says writing displays no grammatical and spelling errors. The writing shows proper word usage, sentence structure, and mechanics, which is also worth 5 points. Writing efforts and details. Writing has details and expressions are seen. The responses show effort and are thoughtful. And at the bottom there is a space for comments, and the total points are 20, and then it just says however many points they get out of 20. And then at the top it does say like 5 would be met, 4 is majority, 3 is mostly, 2 is somewhat, 1 is fairly, and 0 is not met. So they know what they did wrong and why they got the points that they did.